spoke to a gentleman recently. He said, after he had gone through my seminar, he heard me say, write down 101 goals. Well, he was about 24. He was struggling. He was poor. He had a used car, no money, unmarried. He wrote down 101 goals. Now, 12 years later, I'm coming back to the same city, Atlanta, Georgia. And so he came to my seminar, and he said, I have to talk to you. He said, because 2 weeks ago, I was going through my papers, and I found that notebook. And he took it out, and he said, I wonder how I did. And so he began looking, and he took out a pen, and he began ticking off the 101 goals. One of my goals was to marry a beautiful woman, which I did. To have children, which I did. To start my own business, which I did. He started to shake. He said, Brian, I had achieved all 101 goals in 12 years. And it was overwhelming to him. He could not believe it, because I had told him, if you write them down, it's like programming them into your subconscious mind, where they then begin to work 24 hours a day while you're doing other things.
When you are struggling and you start thinking about giving up, I want you to remember the power of hope. The belief that something better is always possible if you're willing to work for it and fight for it. Our hope that if we work hard enough and believe in ourselves, then we can be whatever we dream, regardless of the limitations that others may place on us. The hope that when people see us for who we truly are, maybe, just maybe, they too will be inspired to rise to their best possible selves.
Look at this pencil. We know that in order for it to become a useful pencil, that from time to time, again and again, it's going to have to go through a resharpening. Well, if this pencil could feel, we could imagine how painful that would be. But that's what it takes for it to be a useful pencil. Life is much the same. Painful experiences and challenges come to us all. But it is through these opportunities that we build character and we grow.
Asked me, were you born in this country? And I was immediately offended. And I said, yeah, I was born in this country. And then she says, do you have any kids? I said, no, I don't have any kids. She then asked me if I was married, and then I said, no, ma'am, I am not married. She says, how old are you? I said, 19. May I help you find something? She then says, you are the most beautiful girl I have seen. And I said, oh, thank you. And then she says, I think you could be the next Miss USA. I'm in the Army, okay? We don't do pageants in the Army. She then asked me to meet her at Starbucks the very next day before my next shift at Target. And apparently I was a pretty open-minded 19-year-old, because I actually agreed to meet her the very next day. The next day she brought this foot-tall stack of pageant books and proceeds to convince me to enter into a state pageant. So 3 months later, I compete in my first pageant and I lose. I go back the second year, compete in the state pageant. I lose. Go back the third year, compete in the state pageant and lose. Go back the fourth year, compete in the same pageant and lose. I go back the fifth year, y'all. Compete in the state pageant and lose. But guess what? I go back the sixth year. Guess what happens? I lose. I called her on the phone and said, you told me I could be the next Miss USA. And she says, Deshauna, keep working, don't quit, keep going back. And in June of 2015, she passes away from leukemia. 6 months later, in December 2015, I win Miss District of Columbia, USA. And 6 months after that, in June of 2016, I become the first soldier to win Miss USA. At times, our purpose drops in our laps as if the heavens threw it by accident. I ask only one thing of you all today after you leave this building. Do not fear failure, but please be terrified of regret. Giving up is the birth of regret. After you walk out this door, you will receive 100 doors shut, slam in your face. You will have 100 moments that will be filled with someone telling you no, or telling you, thank you for your application, but we regret to inform you that we've chosen a different candidate for this job. You will sit in 100 different interviews and you will not get the job. The reality of life is that we will all hear more no's than we hear yeses. And we will fail a lot, and I mean a whole lot. But what I ask of you today is to not take no for an answer. Don't be afraid of no's. Be afraid of the possibility of a yes that you have prematurely destroyed because you decided to quit before the clock strikes 12. I love a good no. Please tell me no. Telling me no is like adding fuel to a fire that is now set ablaze because of your single no. So today I challenge you to fight, to work, to not stop here, to believe so heavily in your aspirations that you too will not fear the word no, but instead you will choose to welcome it.
So why are we doing so well? Because we have to grow fast. We have to work this hard. We have to prove that we deserve this. And we have to top our last achievements. It seems like the pressure that could have crushed us made us into diamonds instead. And what didn't kill us actually did make us stronger.
He could do it. If he could do it.
This isn't a movie.
He believed in himself. And you can too.
Oh man, you're gonna put it on me like that?
You can do anything that you want. You can get singing lessons, get a better job, make more money. You could be even like rich. You could live in the White House someday. You could be president.
Me?
Do what you want to do. It's not up to other people.
It's true.
It's up to you.
My father always told me that an Indian woman, when she's young, she's dependent on her father. When she's married, she's dependent on her husband. And when she's old, she's dependent on her son. And I don't want you to be like that. I want you to have independence. I want you to be the master of your destiny. And the only way you can do that is if you are educated and you can stand on your own 2 feet.
If I were to do this, or if I were to give you, are you strong enough? Are you capable of being someone that's going to be in my life? That's how I approach things now. And I'm not being conceited. I'm saying it's actually an honor to be with me because I think I'm a great person and I love people deeply and I won't tolerate ever being treated the way that I had.
Nothing comes free in life, right? There's a price to pay for everything. And all I want is to dominate the globe. That's all I want. So for that, you have to sacrifice sleep and food and schedules and routine, and it's okay. I love what I do, and I don't take my job for granted. I don't take my work for granted. I really believe that very few people get to wake up in the morning and say, yes, I'm going to work, and yes, I get to do something which I want to do on my terms.
No one ever tells students why they should write something. It's like, well, you have to do this assignment. Well, why are you writing? Well, you need the grade. It's like, no, you need to learn to think. Because thinking makes you act effectively in the world. Thinking makes you win the battles you undertake. And those could be battles for good things. If you can think and speak and write, you are absolutely deadly. Nothing can get in your way. So that's why you learn to write. It's like, and I can't believe that people aren't just told that. It's like, it's the most powerful weapon you can possibly provide someone with. And I mean, I know lots of people who've been staggeringly successful and watched them throughout my life. I mean, those people, you don't want to have an argument with them. They'll just slash you into pieces. And not in a malevolent way. It's like, if you're going to make your point and they're going to make their point, you better have your points organized.